A little more reaction from Fox News contributor Judy Miller, Pulitzer Prize-winning author and journalist who covered Saudi Arabia back in the either good old days or bad old days, however you look at it, of the 1970s. Judy, what we've been talking about, and with Brett Baer as well last hour, is the same point that John Roberts makes. Does good words follow with good actions by the Saudis, the Emiratis, of cutting off money to the Wahhabi clerics, of really taking a real concerted effort to clean their own house, whether it's the House of Saud or in some of the other kingdoms, of these radical clerics, of the radical terrorisms and the people who are funding this terrorism?
Well, Leland, as you know, that is the hard part. That's the challenge, because the governments have largely stopped the funding per se, but it's wealthy individuals who are still providing a lot of financial support for individuals whom they see as change agents and whom we regard as terrorists. The other problem, too, is that the Saudi royal family is far and away more liberal than the Wahhabi religious establishment with whom the monarchy shares power. And the Wahhabi establishment intends to go on spreading its message and its interpretation of Islam through the mosques and the networks of cultural institutions with its support. So we have to agree that the proof is going to be in action rather than words. And I was very struck by the totally different tone of this speech from candidate Trump, who said that Islam hates us.
That's what I was going to ask you about next. Is John points out, words matter in this region, and this is a candidate who said you have to name it radical Islamic terrorism. This is now a president who backed very far away from any of those words. This was a president who oftentimes sort of made fun of President Obama for dealing with symbolism and putting a lot of emphasis on exactly how diplomatic he wanted to be. This was now President Trump, who clearly had, whether it be because of his own advisors or because of his own feelings, has changed his tune.
Well, I don't know what's in his heart or in his head. I do know that this was a very presidential Donald Trump who read the teleprompter straight through for almost an hour and did not deviate from the text that we received, except, as John Roberts pointed out, to replace the word Islamist, which is different, with Islamic. Now, we don't know whether that was a slip, or we just don't know whether or not he intended that for his base audience at home, those who really don't like Muslims and don't feel that they contribute to our country. That's still the base that helped propel him into the presidency. So maybe there was a little something for everyone in this speech. What really struck me, Leland, was the harsh attack on Iran in the capital of the country that was responsible for sending most of the terrorists who destroyed our two buildings, our Twin Towers and the Pentagon. I mean, Iran had nothing to do with that, and I'm not a defender of Iran, but I do think that the Iranians, who just spent 6 weeks electing a moderate president, far more moderate than the opposite, did not expect to hear what they heard today from Riyadh. That's a double slap in the face.
Well, and we saw that not only from the president, but also from Secretary Tillerson yesterday, and certainly from the Saudi foreign minister standing next to the Secretary of State. Sometimes in our news cycles, we lose focus on how much that matters. In the Arab world, those kinds of things matter a great deal. Judy Miller, you're going to have a lot to talk about over the next couple of days. Tomorrow's Israel. We'll have you back. Thanks again.
Thanks, Leland.
All right.